Welcome to Take a Side, the sports talk show that lets you, the viewer, choose our winners. Be sure to get on sided.co and post your arguments for the chance to stand atop the Sided leaderboard and take home a $25 Amazon gift card. Shout out to last week's winner, Bernard, for another win atop Sided's leaderboard. Now let's get into our first debate. 5 weeks into the NFL season, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback and number 1 overall draft pick Joe Burrow has had an eventful season thus far. Through 5 games, Burrow has thrown for 1,304 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions with an 86.3 passer rating. I'm joined by Jerome Sweeney and Dylan Funk to debate whether or not Joe Burrow is the NFL's Rookie of the Year through Week 5.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, so far a front runner I'd say would be Joe Burrow. And let's not forget we're also just 5 weeks into the season, so it's still quite early. But yet again, front runner, I have to give it to Joe Burrow. He's been absolutely impressive so far, playing just like a number 1 overall pick should be. Last college football season, perfect season, leading the LSU Tigers national championship, and then coming here to Cincinnati and turning a 2-14 team. Really quite around. Their record, I don't think quite shows exactly the impact he's made so far, but there's definitely been a culture change. He is the leader that the Cincinnati Bengals have been looking for quite a while, and especially without preseason games, I think. He was without those first 4 games in the preseason, so the way he's been playing so far this season, especially being the first rookie quarterback to throw for 300 yards in 3 straight games already in weeks 2, 3, and 4. I think it's been absolutely incredible, and right now I'd have to give it to Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think, he's definitely, he's had a good, an inconsistent first couple of 5 weeks, after last week's performance against the Baltimore Ravens where they only, put up 3 points. But I think, Joe Burrow, you can't be a Rookie of the Year and, be on, you have your offensive line be taking 8 to 9 sacks a game, as we've seen in, 2 out of the 5 weeks. He's getting sacked a lot. So, I mean, it's a team sport. It's not just about Joe Burrow's talent, because if we're looking on rookie talent alone, Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers has, through one less game, has more passing yards than him, more passing touchdowns, the same amount of passing interceptions at 3, and he has a much higher quarterback rating than Joe Burrow through one less game. And unlike Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert has lost all 4 of those games, but he's lost to quality teams, and he's lost by less than 1 score.
So yeah, that again, you kind of touched on it too. Joe Burrow, his offensive line is definitely not helping him. I think they ranked 25th in the whole league, and kind of giving him time in the pocket to really try to make those passes. Giving the ball to Joe Mixon, AJ Green, Auden Tate, players like that. But you also kind of talked on Justin Herbert. I definitely would probably put him number 2, number 3, probably right behind Joe Burrow right now, especially after that game last night against New Orleans. I think he did everything he could to win that game for him. New Orleans tied the game, and it was a little over a minute or a little under a minute in the 4th, and Justin Herbert led him down the field, especially with that spectacular pass and catch from Mike Williams to really set him up for a game-tying field goal. And then Badgley just kind of doinking it off the post, really did him no favors. But, it's competitive. This rookie class, I think, this year definitely has talent, and it's not just at the quarterback position.
Right. And, yeah, I mean, going to that, I think, the best way to, groom rookie quarterbacks and other rookies in different positions is to have veteran leadership. And, another rookie that I think is right up there in the Rookie of the Year candidate race right now is Justin Jefferson, who's been playing behind Adam Thielen, who's, been one of the top wide receivers in the league. I mean, he's just been an absolute stud for the Minnesota Vikings. He's when Stephon Diggs left the Minnesota Vikings in the offseason, there was a lot of, doubt and whatnot about, okay, they need a receiver, what are they going to get? I think they hit a home run with Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's the second-rated rookie through PFF rankings so far throughout the year. So I mean, it's not just in the quarterback with Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert right now. There's this is one of the deepest rookie wide receiver draft classes we've seen in the better part of a decade. So there's Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. There's a lot of different young wide receiver talent out there in the NFL this year.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
And then I mean, one more final candidate that I think could be in the serious contention for Rookie of the Year would be Clyde Edwards-Helaire from the Kansas City Chiefs. He is I think the fourth rookie in the NFL's history to run for over 130 yards and have a rushing touchdown in his NFL debut. But I mean, all those are just dark horses. I think, you know, it's going to, end of the day, come down to Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. And I think, you know, since they both haven't won a game, they're both in a very similar spot right now. And I think, you know, Justin Herbert has a little bit more of an edge based on, you know, his team is a lot more put together than, you know, the Cincinnati Bengals, who have, you know, they have some defensive woes. You know, their offensive line is horrendous compared to the Chargers. So I think it'll definitely be a very, you know, heated race, but I think it's going to, you know, those two are going to be the breakaway candidates that, you know, really take the next steps and develop. You know, they're both going to have their breakout. I think Herbert's reached his breakout a little bit sooner than Burrow has, but it's going to be very interesting these next 12 weeks to see, you know, how those two pan out and how the Rookie of the Year race goes. That's all we got. Let us know and take a side who you think will be the Rookie of the Year.
Now the beating is on the boards out there, guys. This is your territory, Grimson. Do your job. Grimson.
Hello? Hi, honey. What? Now? All right. The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you too, sweetheart.
Hey, it's my girl.
You know, my daughter.
Love. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
Welcome back. For our second debate, we're talking MLB baseball. Last night, the Atlanta Braves beat the LA Dodgers by a score of 5-1 in Game 1 of the National League Championship Series. Freddie Freeman and Ozzie Albies both hit home runs for the Braves as starting pitcher Max Fried pitched 6 innings, allowing only 4 hits and 1 earned run. I'm joined by Marina Saver and Blake Sevenbergen to debate their picks for the National League Championship Series.
Yeah, I know that Atlanta took Game 1, but I really just think that is thanks to a momentary lapse in what is typically a lights-out Los Angeles bullpen. And why I think the Dodgers will inevitably take this series and move on to the World Series, they just have a depth in every single sense of the word that is unparalleled, not only by the Braves, but I think by any other team in the major leagues. The fact that the NLCS is a best of 7 compared to a best of 5 like the DS or a best of 3 like the wild card is that the Dodgers have that starting rotation depth that Atlanta doesn't necessarily have. So Atlanta has Fried and Anderson to take the 1-2, but then after that, their depth really just tapers off compared to the 3 young guys that come after Buehler and Kershaw for the Dodgers. And I know that the Braves can absolutely rake, but it seems that in so many offensive categories, the Braves are second to Los Angeles. In runs scored in the regular season, they're second to Los Angeles. In home runs on the season, they're second to Los Angeles. Defensively, Los Angeles is second in defensive runs saved compared to Atlanta's, I think, 21st in that ranking. So I just think the Braves are a great team. I honestly hope they win. We all know I do not like the Dodgers. But I just think if we're being realistic, Los Angeles has so much more longevity from their team, including stars like Bellinger and Betts, who are 2 of the best players, not only in the 2 best players in the series, but 2 of the top 5 best players in all of the major leagues. So yeah, I just really think after, I know that they lost game 1, but I think Los Angeles will cruise to an NLCS victory.
So, like you said, the Braves have been great defensively so far. Their team, they have a .93 team ERA in the postseason. Bullpen's given up 1 run the entire postseason. That's why I think that the depth issue that the Braves have isn't as important as people are saying it is. You know, you give up 1 run the entire postseason so far. That's unheard of. And so, you know, going into games 3 and 4 when Anderson and Fried are not pitching and then they come in on 3 days rest later on, you know, those guys in the bullpen can pick up after the 4th or 5th inning and carry a team towards a victory. And then with that, you know, the Braves are a big home run team, and last night they showed that. They hit multiple home runs. They've done that multiple times in the playoffs. You know, they won a whole series as well. Against the Reds, they didn't give up a single run. They shut out the Marlins in Game 3, and all of their runs that they've scored seemingly have been on the home run. Those 2 things have been working for them so far. And then with that bullpen, I think they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, I mean, the Braves definitely do have a lights-out bullpen, and that is something that carried them to victory yesterday because they were able to hold firm while Los Angeles's bullpen inevitably was not. But if you don't have that depth in the starting rotation past Fried and Anderson, I think, to me, if the Dodgers can come in the early innings and take advantage of the Braves starters, it doesn't really, it takes away from the talent that the Braves have in the bullpen, because if the Dodgers pitching is lights out and the Dodgers offense is lights out against Braves starting pitching, it doesn't, and the Braves are behind, it doesn't really matter that a bullpen is great unless the Braves can come in and rake off of Dodgers relievers like they did last night. But again, I really think that was just a rare weakness or a rare weak spot for Los Angeles' bullpen. And I just think, yeah, I can't say it enough. The Dodgers just have a depth that I have not seen in so long, probably in my lifetime, if I'm honest. And yeah, I think it's going to be an easy cruise to the end for them. Fried and Buehler were both lights out last night. I expect Kershaw and Anderson to do the same tonight. But I think after those first 2 games, that's where the Braves are going to start to run into some trouble because they don't have the starting pitching depth that Los Angeles inevitably has. And I think that is what is going to be kind of their kryptonite for the rest of the series.
I would agree. If the Braves are starting pitching with Fried and Anderson doesn't hold up early in the game, they could be in for trouble. But that's where the great offense that they have comes in. Travis d'Arnaud is playing out of his mind right now. You know, Ronald Acuna Jr. can come up with a hit any single time. He's one of the most clutch players in baseball. Freddie Freeman he's the most consistent player, I would argue, in baseball. MVP candidate this year, hit a home run in the first inning last night off of Walker Buehler, who is one of the best pitchers in baseball.
Yeah, and the Braves, what's interesting is they really did build their offense around Freddie Freeman and his consistency. And they have, you know, Ozzie Albies, Acuna, they have so many great young players that are contributors to that offense. And honestly, the Braves and the Dodgers are probably the 2 most prolific offenses in the entire major leagues, which is why they're so fun to watch. So really, I keep going back to this is going to come down to pitching, and Los Angeles can go the distance through 7 games should it go that far, and I don't think Atlanta necessarily has that. I'm going to be interested to see how Game 2 plays out tonight, but regardless, I think it's going to be a great series between 2 awesome teams who have had some postseason heartbreak in the past couple years for sure.
I agree. I think the whole series relies on Game 2 tonight. You know, Ian Anderson on the mound for the Braves hasn't given up a run the entire postseason. If that happens today and he gives up a run, gets roughed up a little bit, I think the Braves could be in for a rough rest of the series.
Yeah, but it's going to be a fun one to watch, and I can't wait to see how it plays out.
I agree.
All right, well, we're going to throw it back over to a commercial. Thanks for sticking with us.
where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
Underneath everything we are all people. And when we reach out a hand to one, we can influence the condition of all. That's what it means to live united.
Just yesterday, the University Daily Kansan published an article criticizing the university's plan to have students isolate in Naismith Hall. The article mentions unclear communication and problems of relocation as students who are exposed to the coronavirus but haven't been tested are given the option to stay in their dorm to await test results. Given these problems, should KU do away with isolation dorms or continue to host students who may be exposed in Naismith Hall? I'm here with Stephen Leisure to hear his side.
Getting rid of the isolation dorms is probably one of the worst ideas possible, because where are you going to put these students? You can't just let them wander around all the dorms. You got to have somewhere for them to go when they get this virus or whenever they think that they might have it. So putting all the students in these dorms, they just have to be more strict on keeping them in the dorms, because a lot of the students are just going out wherever they want still if they're in the isolation. And then there are complaints of people being in the halls, that there's complaints of everybody just congregating in rooms that are still there. And to mitigate the spread of this virus, you got to somehow keep people socially distanced, and they're just really not doing that at all. So they just need to maybe be more strict on what the repercussions are of leaving your dorm. Like, hey, it's so many violations and you lose your student housing or something along those lines.
Stephen, if problems persist with these isolation dorms at Naismith Hall, what kind of alternatives do you think the university can turn to isolate students that may be exposed to coronavirus?
I think the real problem here is there's almost no alternatives. The only thing that they can really do is take away their student housing, and for that reason, so many students, they are going to struggle if student housing is taken away, because they don't have anywhere else to go. A lot of students are from all the way across the country. As somebody that's all the way from the East Coast myself, if I were to get the virus and there was nowhere for me to go, I would be screwed, because there's no other option for me. I can't go all the way back home, because it's an 18-hour drive for me just to get back home. So they just got to figure out how to slow down the virus itself, which is kind of hard to do, or they need to figure out how to be more strict on staying in the dorms, because getting rid of this or having any alternate idea is going to be a struggle to find.
Now, Stephen, obviously it's clear that so far these isolation dorms have not worked, have not accomplished their goal. So who do you think is to blame for the failure of these isolation dorms? The university or the students that aren't following protocols?
It actually comes down to a little bit of both. I mean, the university can only do so much. They have to have the student support and the students' cooperation in these times in order to actually have these isolation dorms work.
Do you think that these isolation dorms will be back second semester, and do you think that they may have better results next semester?
Oh, they're absolutely going to be back next semester, no question about it. The virus doesn't seem to be, I mean, it seems to slow down a little bit, but it's still going to be here. There's still going to be problems, and there's still going to have to be somewhere for people to go if they have the COVID virus.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. As always, be sure to get on Sided.co and post your own arguments and debates to climb up that leaderboard. Until next time, I'm Jacob Polacheck, and this has been Take a Side.